In this video, we are going to talk about the second type of trigonometric integral, tangent raised to the nth power times secant raised to the nth power. We already talked about case 1 in the previous video. Case 1 is about the power of secant is even. This video is for case 2. Case 2 is tangent has odd power. So tangent has odd power. You have to do all of this to reach to the final answer. So I gave you 3 integrals. The first one, the one in pink, tangent to the first power, so 1 is odd. The one in yellow, tangent to the third, 3 is odd. And then the last one, the last one is a long problem. Tangent to the fifth, the 5 is odd. Okay, let's start at number 1. So what do we have to do first? So first we have to factor out a secant times tangent. Okay, so number 1, let's factor out a secant times tangent. So secant x times tangent x, and then I always use a big dot. So what's left? We only have secant square left, right? So we only have secant square x left. Okay, what else can I do? So this one we only have a secant square left, but in the problem we have a tangent square inside the parenthesis, and we have to rewrite the tangent square. But that is not the case in problem 1. So maybe in problem 1, I can let u equals to secant x, and then du is equals to secant x times tangent x. That is just enough to get rid of the first factor, dx, and then 1 divided by secant x times tangent x du equals to dx. And then now we do the change of variable. So we have integral secant x times tangent x, and then times secant square x, but the secant square x becomes a u square. And then you have to replace this dx over here. So the dx is now 1 divided by secant x times tangent x du, right? And then we can get rid of the secant x times tangent x, secant x times tangent x, that this is only a simple power rule. So we have the integral of u squared du, which is 1/3 u to the third plus c, which is 1/3. So u is secant, then you have secant x to the third power plus c. So this is your final answer. Another way to place the third power is 1/3 secant to the third power x plus c. So that is the end of the first integral. Let's take a look at the next one. The next one we have a tangent to the third times secant x. Okay, let's put that in yellow. So we have integral tangent to the third x times secant x dx. So the power of secant is odd, right? The power of tangent is odd. So the m is equals to 3. The power of tangent is odd, and then the secant, we don't care. N is equals to 1. So what they ask you to do is, they ask you to factor out a secant times tangent. Okay, let's do that. We have to factor out a secant x times tangent x, and then we draw a big dot, so that is a factor. And then the tangent to the third becomes a tangent square. That becomes a tangent square. And then there is no more secant after this. And then you have a dx. So if you go back to take a look at the direction really quick, do you see that in the second line there is a pink parenthesis? Inside the pink parenthesis we have a tangent square. All right, so that is exactly what we have right here. And then raised to the k power, raised to a red k. Okay, then my k will be just a 1 then. And then according to that direction, I have to rewrite the tangent square as secant square x minus 1. Let's go ahead and do that. So we have that equals to secant x tangent x, and then multiply the tangent square becomes secant square x minus 1, right? Yep, minus 1. And then dx. And then what else do we have to do? According to case 2, we have to do a substitution, and then we have to let u equals to secant x. So u is equals to secant x, and then du is equals to, the derivative of secant is secant times tangent dx, and then 1 divided by secant x times tangent x du that is equals to dx. Now we are ready to do the change of variable. So this is secant x times tangent x, and then we have u squared minus 1. The dx becomes this. So this du is going to replace the dx. So the dx becomes 1 divided by secant x times tangent x dx, and then we can get rid of the secant and the tangent. So this is only the integral of u squared minus 1. So that becomes the integral of u squared minus 1 du, simple, 1/3 u to the third minus u plus c. And then we let u equals to secant, so that is 1/3 secant x raised to the third power minus secant x and then plus c. So this is the final answer. Another way to write the 3 is you can write 1/3 secant to the third power x minus secant x plus c. All right, so that is the end of the second problem. And then we have the third one. The third one is a long one. The next one is the integral of tangent to the fifth power, right? The last one, the integral of tangent to the fifth power x dx. Let's do that right here. So we have integral tangent to the fifth x dx. All right, so the power of tangent is odd, but this time we do not have any secant to factor out. They ask you to factor out a secant x times tangent x, right? But there is no secant for you to factor out. What do? Then let's try to factor out a tangent, right? So let's try to take a tangent out, and then we do a big dot, and then according to the cookbook recipe, there must be a tangent square x inside that pink parenthesis, right? If you go back to the beginning of this video, and then what square goes here? So we have a 2 and a 1, then this must be a 2 then, because 2 times 2 is equals to 4, 4 plus 1 is equals to 5. All right, and then another way to find out this power is you have the m power is equals to 5, right? And then they said this is odd, and then they let m equals to 2k plus 1. So 5 is equals to 2k plus 1, then k is equals to 2. So that's how I got the 2 in that circle. So since there is no secant for you to factor out, let's move on to the next step. The next step, we will have to rewrite the tangent square into secant square x minus 1, and then the square is still there dx. And then the secant square minus 1, this one, if you let u equals to this, I will just do that in a different color. If you let u equals to secant x according to the cookbook recipe, and then you do du equals to secant x times tangent x dx, this is not going to work, because outside of the parenthesis, there is no secant for you to do the cancellation. So this is not going to work. You can try, but this is not going to work. So this is not working. Now, we just encounter a problem that is not stated in the cookbook recipe. What do? Let's try to open up the square. Let's try to open up which square? Let's try to open up this square. So we have an integral and then a tangent. After you open up that square, you have secant to the fourth power x minus 2 times secant square x, and then you add 1 to it, and then dx. All right, and then it looks like we can distribute the tangent and then break that into 3 different integrals. So we can do this. We can do integral tangent x times secant to the fourth x dx minus integral. So this will be a 2 times tangent x secant square x dx, and then plus the integral of tangent x dx. So we just break it down into 1, 2, 3 different integrals. So let's handle this one by one. So let's handle the first one. The first one is integral of tangent x secant to the fourth x dx. So let's do the u substitution. We let u equals to secant x, and then du equals to secant x times tangent x dx. And then how do we do the rewrite? Here is what I can do. How about this? We take one secant out. So we do this secant, no, not secant. We do tangent x, and then we take one secant out, and then we have three secants right here. And then now we do the change of variable. So we have 1 divided by secant x times tangent x dx. We are going to put this piece, the entire piece, du. This is incomplete. This is a du equals to dx, and then we will put the entire piece right over here. So now, tangent secant x, and then the secant becomes u to the third power, and then 1 over secant x tangent x du. All right, cancellation, these two will be cancelled. So this is the integral of u to the third power, which is 1 over 4 u to the fourth plus c, which is 1 over 4 secant x to the fourth plus c. So this is number 1, the result of number 1. And then we still have a number 2. Number 2 is, let's just do number 2 in a different color, shall we? Let's do number 2 in a different color. So number 2, let's do that in green. So I'm going to erase this 2 and then put that in green. So this is in green. So number 2, we have a minus 2 integral tangent secant square x dx. Okay, how about u equals to tangent? U equals to tangent x, and then du is equals to secant square x dx. 1 divided by secant square x dx is du. Du is equals to dx. And then change of variable, we place this dx to here. And then the integral becomes negative 2 integral. This will be a u times secant square x times 1 divided by secant square x du. Then this is only negative 2, the integral of u du, simple integral. And that is, so we have u squared, right? This is a 1, and then 1 plus 1 is equals to 2. Yes, u squared, and then negative 2 divided by that, and then plus c. So, and then you put the u back. So this is a negative tangent x to the second power plus c. So that is the result of number 2. And then we still have a number 3. What is number 3? Number 3 is here. Number 3 is the tangent x. So number 3 is tangent x. So we have, write number 3 in here. We have the integral of tangent x dx. So this one you can rewrite the tangent as sine of x divided by cosine of x dx, and then you let u equals to if you let u equals to sine x, then du is equals to cosine. I will just let u equals to cosine x. So du is equals to negative sine of x dx. And then you have negative 1 over negative sine of x du equals to dx. And then this is the integral of sine x, and then this is a u times 1 over negative sine x du. And then what do we have? The sine got cancelled. the sign got cancelled, so we have a 1 over u only, then that becomes an ln, right? So that becomes an ln. So this is -1 integral of 1 over u du, that is -1 ln absolute value of u plus c, and then you put the u back, then that will be absolute value of cosine plus c. So this is number 3, and then you add those 3 parts together. So the first part is, so overall, let's put this back to this color. So overall, the answer, you have 1 over 4 secant x to the 4th power minus tangent x to the 2nd power, and then minus ln absolute value of cosine x, and then you plus c. So this is the answer to the last integral. Alright, so that is the end of this video. If you think my instruction is helpful, let me know in the comment below. Like the video, share the video for me, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Appreciate for your help and support. See you all in the next video. Signing off for now.